There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Aren't you just talking about your bathroom?
What?
I mean, I've gone in there after you, and no amount of imagination could have prepared me for what I saw.
Sorry about that. The Twilight Zone is a show that dealt with deep-seated human psychosis. The kind of thing that everyone thinks about deep inside their minds, but are afraid to express openly in fear of being thought of as maladjusted by society. It's also a show about goofy, campy science fiction stories that are in no way a commentary on society or philosophy. It's between these two extremes that the Twilight Zone gets its flavor and personality.
What exactly does the show believe I think about, but I don't want to talk about?
I'm glad you asked. Season 1, Episode 4, The 16mm Shrine, deals with the concept of getting old and growing into irrelevance. It begins with an aging movie star watching videos of herself alone in a room. Videos of when she was still young and beautiful, in her prime and still being cast in movies. Eventually, her agent starts to worry about her and sends one of her former co-stars to visit.
Oh, well, that was nice of him.
Yeah, but instead of bringing her out of her funk, the visit has quite the opposite effect. She was horrified by the fact that he too had grown old and was no longer the youthful, handsome leading man of the big screen. Now his looks had faded, and he lived a pretty mundane life. It was just an unwelcome reminder that she was past her prime and that her best years were behind her.
Okay, well, what can you do about it?
Well, you can change your outlook, but that's not what she did. Instead, she cloistered herself even further from reality and stayed in her private viewing room day and night. By the end of it, she appeared to actually be sucked into the movie so she could be young and admired again. But I believe this represented her completely losing touch with reality and failing to move forward with her life as it actually was.
Geez, that's like kind of an extreme reaction. I mean, even if they get old, humans already know they have to die someday. Plus, her legacy can be preserved in film and in the memories of her loved ones.
Can it really, though? Think about it. How often do thoughts of your grandparents or great-grandparents enter your mind? How often do you dig up their pictures or keepsakes?
I actually play Scrabble with them every other weekend.
Well, yeah, but your species lives for hundreds of years. We're talking about humans here.
Oh, right.
I think a question that most people have to wrestle with is, will anything I do really matter 100 years from now? Will anyone really think about me or remember me in any way?
Well, maybe your grandkids.
But do your average humans even know the names of their great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents? And do they feel any bond with them? Maybe they did cool things a couple centuries ago, but do you really care to find out? And can you actually have a real connection with them?
I don't know, probably not.
So why would it be any different with your offspring or the people who come after you? How long until you're completely forgotten?
Could you talk about something else?
Alright, well, Season 2, Episode 6, The Eye of the Beholder, deals with the importance of how you look and how it affects almost every aspect of your life. It begins with a woman whose face is entirely obscured with bandages after plastic surgery, which leaves the viewer wondering if the hospital staff has fixed her assumed deformities.
Was she in an accident or something?
Apparently she's just ugly, and the plastic surgeon has already made multiple attempts to fix it.
Well, does it work?
Not exactly. When the bandages finally come off, the face of a woman who is actually very attractive by current human standards is revealed. But the hospital staff recoils and declares the surgery a failure.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and then the faces of the hospital staff are revealed to be, well, absolutely atrocious, with asymmetrical lips ending in some odd version of a cleft palate, weird pig snouts, stretched, wrinkled cheeks, and sunken eyes.
Oh, I get it. It's about how beauty comes from within and how what's ugly to one person is attractive to another.
Well, not entirely.
Oh, great. What else is it about?
Well, the episode isn't about a woman getting rejected by a suitor, then finding another man. It's about how basically all of society at large thinks that her features are ugly. Like it or not, there are people out there right now who are viewed almost universally as being unattractive.
Well, that's not true. Real beauty comes from within. And I believe there's someone out there for everyone.
That's an optimistic thought. By the way, whatever happened to that girl who was talking to you? Zerlina, right? She was really nice, and you guys had a lot of common interests.
Oh, well, she just wasn't my type, you know?
Your type? What does that mean?
She, her face tentacles were kind of droopy, and her eye stalks were too far apart. You're really a buzzkill, you know that?
Despite the prevailing theme of making the viewer uncomfortable, not all episodes of The Twilight Zone are gloomy and dystopian.
Oh, thank God.
Season 1, Episode 32, A Passage for Trumpet, follows a trumpet player from New York who's fallen on hard times. He's out of work, has no romantic prospects, and he's spiraling into alcoholism. He tries to get a job at his old club, but he's turned down and can't seem to find a gig anywhere.
That sounds pretty rough. Wait, I thought we were talking about episodes that aren't gloomy and depressing.
Just bear with me.
Okay, well, how does he handle it? Does he stop drinking? Does he talk to a friend? Does he finally get a job?
Actually, he sells his trumpet, then he jumps in front of a truck and dies.
Jeez Louise, what the heck, man?
Hey, give me the benefit of the doubt here, alright?
Ugh.
Anyways, he wanders the city for a while as a ghost, until he meets a disguised Gabriel, who talks to him about all the good things in life.
Gabriel? Like the Archangel Gabriel?
Exactly. And with a little bit of convincing, the trumpet player decides to take his chance to return to the world of the living and have another shot at life. He wakes up in front of the truck, and the driver gives him some money, presumably for his silence on the matter. He uses some of it to buy back his trumpet, and later that night, as he's playing to himself on the roof of his apartment complex, a neighbor woman expresses admiration for his talent and hints that she's romantically interested.
Huh. Sounds like things really turned around for him there. But what's the darker message?
Nothing. I think it's just about second chances. Even if things seem hopeless in your life right now, you never know what events and opportunities will present themselves in your future, even if you don't expect them. All you have to do is try your best and keep moving forward. If you don't, you'll never get to see what good things await, even if it doesn't feel like it right now.
Huh. What else you got?
Season 3, Episode 32, The Gift, follows an alien who crash lands his spaceship in Mexico. He becomes injured during an unseen confrontation in which he kills a police officer and is shot by another, before escaping and collapsing in a bar.
Whoa. Did he attack the officer first, or did the police start shooting at him when he came out of his spaceship?
That's the thing, we don't really know. Either way, a doctor sees him and decides to remove the bullets from his chest. During this short reprieve, the alien hands something to the young boy who is hired to clean the bar, stating that it's a gift, and that'll explain later.
I don't know, seems fishy.
Well, unfortunately for the alien, the bartender notifies the army as to his whereabouts, and he is cornered by troops and villagers as he attempts to retreat to his spaceship. The alien tries to explain that he has peaceful intentions, and tells the young boy to show them the gift he was given. Believing it to be dangerous, villagers take it before anyone can look inside and destroy it.
Well, I kind of understand. You have an alien who killed a police officer and is running away. He might have been trying to use the boy to trick them or something.
Perhaps. The entire altercation ends when the alien and the boy reach for each other, and the mob ends up shooting the alien, believing that he might intend to harm the boy. But after the dust settles, the doctor picks up the remains of the alien's gift and is able to make out the words, "The following chemical formula is a vaccine against all forms of cancer." But the rest of the note has been irretrievably burned.
Okay, I get it. Don't judge a book by its cover and all that. Maybe if they had been less xenophobic and not jumped to conclusions so quickly, things would have worked out better for everyone in the end.
No kidding. Remember what happened the first time we met?
Well, let's not talk about that. Promise.
The point is, jumping to conclusions based on your assumptions or one person's side of the story can be disastrous. But on the flip side, maybe a little bit of xenophobia is a good thing.
Wait, what?
In Season 3, Episode 24, one of the most popular episodes of The Twilight Zone, To Serve Man, a mysterious race of extremely tall aliens visits Earth. Seriously, look at these guys, they're huge. The United Nations is initially very suspicious of them and on full alert, but the aliens give humanity very beneficial gifts in the form of advanced atomic energy, a seemingly magic fertilizer that ends world hunger, and a force field that prevents nations from dropping bombs on each other.
Sounds like a pretty good bunch of dudes.
Basically, yeah. During one of the United Nations summits, where an alien representative answers questions, he leaves behind a book on the pulpit, which is immediately brought to a team of cryptographers for them to analyze.
Huh. I wonder if he left behind the book by accident or on purpose.
It's really left up to the viewer to decide. In the meantime, governments start to trust the aliens more and more due to their benevolence, and people start volunteering to visit their home planet, which, by all reports, is pretty awesome.
Hey, they might be freakishly tall, but they sure know how to show mankind a good time.
The biggest piece of evidence for the aliens' peaceful intentions finally comes when the cryptography team deciphers the title of that book they left behind early in the episode, which apparently comes out in English as To Serve Man.
Oh, well, there you have it. They're a race of interplanetary philanthropists and humanitarians.
It would appear that way. Within an undisclosed period of time, the aliens set up embassies on Earth, world peace is achieved for the first time, and the US Army is completely disbanded.
Just think about how much money could go to education and humanitarian causes if they weren't spending all that cash on weapons and soldiers' wages.
Eventually, the head cryptographer and one of his team members decide to visit the aliens' planet to see it for themselves. Quite literally, as he is walking up the ramp into the spaceship, his colleague runs at him, crying hysterically, then says one of the most iconic lines in television history. "The rest of the book, To Serve Man. It's a cookbook!"
Oh, seriously?
You know, because serve has a dual meaning, so they're like serving men for dinner.
Yeah, I get it. So, are you saying we should be less trusting of strangers then? Because you were saying we should give people the benefit of the doubt before.
I guess it just depends on how you want to live your life. You could always choose to live as an island or only have superficial relationships to be safe. Or you could open up and make yourself vulnerable with the risk of being hurt. Or being prepared as a culinary dish by aliens in this case. But you might also have more fulfilling relationships as a result.
Are you sure it's not just a campy episode about getting eaten by aliens?
Hey, I thought you'd be more interested in these episodes with you being an extraterrestrial and all. Plus, if I was xenophobic, I don't think we'd be best friends. Remember what you did the first time we met?
Hey, you promised not to talk about that.
Well, the first thing that happened was...
Bruh. So, anyways, wasn't there a reboot of the show in the 80s?
There was, but I don't think it was as fresh or culturally significant at that point. There were some good episodes, some rehashes, and a lot of things that weren't really in the spirit of the original show, and it ended after 2 seasons. Then another network tried to revive it again in the early 2000s, but that did even worse. Either audiences weren't interested anymore, or it simply wasn't infused with the Rod Serling magic like the original, which still airs in syndication today and has a cult following.
That's really a disappointing legacy for such a deep and original show.
Hey, there's good news on that front though. It's being rebooted yet again, and the first episode is set to air next month. Jordan Peele is hosting it.
Who?
You know, this guy.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I get that most people know him for his comedy routines, but he's actually branched out and directed 2 horror films at this point, so he might end up being a good choice.
Well, let's hope it does better than the last 2 reboots.
Cheers to that. So, remember how you mentioned my bathroom earlier?
Yeah?
Do you know what toilet paper and the Twilight Zone have in common?
No.
Well, it's all of the do.
I think we're done here.